Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, this day I want to speak to you about something that touches the very core of our existence, the struggles we face in life. We all encounter moments of uncertainty, pain, and adversity. And in those moments, it often feels like the world is closing in on us. But I want to remind you of a profound truth today. God is not a distant observer. He is a present help. He is waiting for you to invite Him into your difficulties, to partner with you in your trials. God is not a distant observer. He is a present help in our time of need. This simple yet profound truth often escapes us, especially when we face the pressures and hardships of life. We tend to imagine God as being far away, removed from our struggles, merely watching from a distance. Yet nothing could be further from the truth. The very nature of God is to be intimately involved in the details of our lives. And He desires to walk with us through every difficulty, no matter how overwhelming it may seem. It is essential to understand that God's involvement in our lives is not passive. He doesn't just watch us stumble through trials with indifference. On the contrary, He actively longs to engage with us in our challenges. The Bible says He is an ever-present help in trouble, Psalm 46:1. He is present in ways we cannot always see or understand, but He is always near, waiting for us to turn to Him. Sometimes the weight of our difficulties causes us to feel abandoned or forgotten by God. But His word is clear. He never leaves us and He never forsakes us. One of the reasons we may feel distance from God during our hardships is that we often try to handle everything ourselves. We live in a world that values independence and self-reliance, and many of us have been conditioned to believe that asking for help is a sign of weakness. Yet God never intended for us to bear our burdens alone. In fact, He created us to be in constant relationship with Him, depending on His strength, wisdom, and guidance. He waits for us to invite Him into our challenges, to open the door and say, God, I need you. I cannot do this on my own. When we face overwhelming situations, God is not standing idly by, waiting to see if we can figure it out. He is ready and willing to step into the very heart of our difficulty, to guide us, to strengthen us, and to carry us through. But this requires an act of surrender on our part. We must recognize our own limitations and invite Him in. God does not force His way into our lives. He respects the free will He has given us. But the moment we turn to Him and invite Him into our situation, He responds with His presence and power. The beauty of inviting God into our difficulties is that it transforms how we experience them. Our perspective shifts when we realize we are not alone. Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, this day I want to speak to you about something that touches the very core of our existence, the struggles we face in life. We all encounter moments of uncertainty, pain, and adversity. And in those moments, it often feels like the world is closing in on us. But I want to remind you of a profound truth today. God is not a distant observer. He is a present help. He is waiting for you to invite Him into your difficulties, to partner with you in your trials. God is not a distant observer. He is a present help in our time of need. This simple yet profound truth often escapes us, especially when we face the pressures and hardships of life. We tend to imagine God as being far away, removed from our struggles, merely watching from a distance. Yet nothing could be further from the truth. The very nature of God is to be intimately involved in the details of our lives. And He desires to walk with us through every difficulty, no matter how overwhelming it may seem. It is essential to understand that God's involvement in our lives is not passive. He doesn't just watch us stumble through trials with indifference. On the contrary, He actively longs to engage with us in our challenges. The Bible says He is an ever-present help in trouble, Psalm 46:1. He is present in ways we cannot always see or understand, but He is always near, waiting for us to turn to Him. Sometimes the weight of our difficulties causes us to feel abandoned or forgotten by God. But His word is clear. He never leaves us and He never forsakes us. One of the reasons we may feel distance from God during our hardships is that we often try to handle everything ourselves. We live in a world that values independence and self-reliance, and many of us have been conditioned to believe that asking for help is a sign of weakness. Yet God never intended for us to bear our burdens alone. In fact, He created us to be in constant relationship with Him, depending on His strength, wisdom, and guidance. He waits for us to invite Him into our challenges, to open the door and say, God, I need you. I cannot do this on my own. When we face overwhelming situations, God is not standing idly by, waiting to see if we can figure it out. He is ready and willing to step into the very heart of our difficulty to guide us, to strengthen us, and to carry us through. But this requires an act of surrender on our part. We must recognize our own limitations and invite Him in. God does not force His way into our lives. He respects the free will He has given us. But the moment we turn to Him and invite Him into our situation, He responds with His presence and power. The beauty of inviting God into our difficulties is that it transforms how we experience them. Our perspective shifts when we realize we are not alone in the storm. Instead of carrying the full weight of the burden ourselves, we begin to share it with the one who is far stronger than we could ever be. We begin to see that our challenges are not just random, meaningless events, but opportunities for God to work in and through us. Our difficulties become platforms for God's intervention, where His power can be displayed in ways we could never imagine. God wants to be involved not only in the big crises of life, but also in the small, everyday struggles. He is interested in every detail of your life. Sometimes we think that God only cares about the spiritual parts of our lives. But the truth is, He cares about everything that concerns us. Whether it's a financial difficulty, a strained relationship, or a health issue, there is nothing too insignificant for God. He is deeply concerned with the things that weigh on our hearts because He loves us as His children. When we invite God into our struggles, we open the door for His divine wisdom, guidance, and comfort. We may not always receive immediate answers or solutions, but we will always receive His presence. And when God is with us, the impossible becomes possible, the unbearable becomes bearable, and the darkness begins to give way to light. He walks with us through the valleys, giving us the strength to endure and the courage to keep moving forward. The invitation is simple: call on Him, trust in Him, and let Him be the present help He has promised to be. The presence of difficulty does not mean the absence of God. One of the greatest misconceptions we often carry is that when life gets hard, it must mean that God is distant, uninterested, or perhaps even punishing us. We assume that if God is truly with us, life should be smooth, free of obstacles, and overflowing with blessings. But this view is not only flawed, it is also contrary to the biblical truth. Scripture is filled with examples of faithful men and women who walked closely with God, yet faced trials, pain, and even suffering. The presence of difficulty does not indicate God's absence. Rather, it often signals an opportunity for God to work more powerfully in our lives. We are naturally inclined to associate the blessings of God with ease, comfort, and success. But God's ways are higher than our ways, and His purposes often transcend our immediate comfort. The reality is that challenges are often the very setting in which God's presence becomes most tangible. Think about the story of Joseph, who was sold into slavery by his own brothers and later unjustly imprisoned. From a human perspective, it might have seemed that God had abandoned him. But the Bible repeatedly tells us the Lord was with Joseph, Genesis 39:2. Even in the midst of his darkest moments, God's presence was with him, guiding him toward his ultimate purpose. It was through those trials that God was preparing Joseph for a greater destiny. Similarly, in our own lives, difficulty does not mean that God is absent or uninvolved. Often it is in those very moments of hardship that He is closest, though we may not always recognize it at the time. The pressure of adversity can blind us to his nearness, making us feel isolated and alone. But God's silence is not the same as his absence. He may allow us to go through challenging seasons to deepen our trust in him, to refine our character, or to teach us dependence on his strength rather than our own. The absence of an immediate solution does not mean God is inactive. He is working in ways that we cannot yet see. In fact, it is in the fire of trials that the presence of God often becomes most real to us. Consider the story of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, who were thrown into the fiery furnace because they refused to bow to the king's idol. From a natural perspective, their situation seemed hopeless. But in the midst of the flames, the king saw something astonishing, a fourth figure in the fire, like the Son of God, Daniel 3:25. God did not deliver them from the fire, but chose to be with them in it. The furnace became the place where God's presence was revealed most clearly. This same principle applies to us. Our struggles, though painful, can become the very context where God meets us in profound and life-changing ways. When we start viewing difficulties as signs of God's absence and start seeing them as opportunities for his intervention, our perspective shifts. We begin to understand that God uses our trials to draw us closer to him, to shape our character, and to prepare us for greater things. So, when you face difficulties, do not be quick to assume that God has left you. Instead, remember that the presence of adversity often signals the presence of God's work in your life. Just because you can't see him working doesn't mean he isn't there. He is walking with you through the storm, and in time you will see the fruit of what he has been doing. His presence is constant, even in your most difficult moments. Every problem is a platform for God to manifest his purpose. It's important to recognize that challenges and difficulties in life are not just random occurrences, nor are they simply obstacles that need to be overcome. When you view your problems through the lens of faith, you begin to see that each one is an opportunity for God to reveal his glory, his power, and his purpose in your life. What looks like a setback in the natural is often a setup for something much greater in the spiritual. God uses what we perceive as difficulties to shape us, grow us, and ultimately display his divine plan. Consider this: if life were without trials, there would be no need for divine intervention, no space for God to show himself mighty on our behalf. The very essence of miracles is that they occur in the midst of impossibility. Every miracle in the Bible began with a problem. Whether it was the parting of the Red Sea, the feeding of the 5,000, or the healing of the blind, each of these instances began with a crisis or an impossible situation. It was the problem that became the platform for God to step in and reveal his power. In the same way, the challenges you face today are not merely stumbling blocks, but stepping stones toward a deeper revelation of God's purpose for your life. They are opportunities for you to see him work in ways you never could have imagined. When you invite God into your difficulties, you give him the opportunity to transform those situations into displays of his greatness. God is a master at turning adversity into advancement. What the enemy meant for harm, God can use for good. He can take the very thing that was designed to break you and turn it into the very thing that builds you. Let's take the story of David and Goliath as an example. David faced a seemingly insurmountable problem and experienced a towering warrior who threatened to destroy his people. But instead of seeing the problem as a reason for fear, David saw it as an opportunity for God to demonstrate his power. The battlefield became the platform for God's purpose, as David declared, "The battle is the Lord's," 1 Samuel 17:47. David's victory over Goliath was not just about defeating a giant, it was about revealing the strength and sovereignty of God through an unlikely and underestimated young man. The problem wasn't just a challenge, it was a divine opportunity. In your own life, the difficulties you face often carry within them seeds of purpose. God may allow you to go through certain trials because He intends to use them for a higher purpose, one that you may not yet fully understand. That financial crisis, that broken relationship, that health issue, that overwhelming situation, each one can become a place where God's purpose is birthed and His will is made manifest. The problem is not the end of the story. It's part of the process that leads to a greater purpose. We often ask God to take away our problems, but perhaps the better prayer is, Lord, use this problem for your glory. When you shift your perspective from why is this happening to me to what is God doing in this, you open the door for divine purpose to unfold. God never wastes a problem. He doesn't allow difficulties into your life just to see you struggle. He allows them because He intends to use them for something far greater than you can imagine. Sometimes the very platform for God's purpose lies in the areas of your greatest pain or challenge. It is in these moments that God can take your brokenness and transform it into a testimony that not only changes you, but also impacts those around you. Your story, your journey through difficulty, becomes a witness of God's faithfulness and power. And often, it is through your darkest hours that God brings forth the brightest revelation of His purpose. So instead of resenting the problems in your life, begin to see them as potential platforms for God to manifest His purpose. Trust that He is at work, using every situation for His glory and your ultimate good. True faith is tested in the furnace of adversity. It's easy to say you have faith when everything is going well, when your health is good, your relationships are thriving, and your finances are secure. But true faith, the kind of faith that pleases God, is not revealed in times of ease and comfort. It is proven in the crucible of challenges, in the midst of trials, when life doesn't make sense, and when answers seem far away. Adversity is the testing ground where your faith is either refined and strengthened or shown to be shallow and fragile. Faith is not the absence of doubt or fear, but the decision to trust God in spite of those feelings. When adversity comes, it often shakes the foundations of what we believe. We may question God's timing, His goodness, or His involvement in our situation. But it is in these very moments of questioning that the roots of faith can grow deeper if we choose to lean into God rather than away from Him. It is easy to trust when the path is clear, but true faith is forged when the way forward is dark and uncertain, when all you have to rely on is God's word and His promises. Think of Abraham, the father of faith, who was called to sacrifice his promised son, Isaac. It was in that moment of ultimate adversity that his faith was truly tested. Would he trust God's promise even when it seemed like everything was about to be taken away? Abraham's willingness to obey, even when it made no sense in the natural, was a profound demonstration of his faith. God was testing not only his obedience, but his absolute trust in the divine plan. It was in the testing of his faith that Abraham was confirmed as the father of nations. The testing of faith is not meant to destroy us, but to refine us. Just as gold is purified in the fire, so too is faith refined in adversity. The impurities of doubt, fear, and self-reliance are burned away in the heat of trials, leaving behind a purer, stronger, and more resilient faith. Without testing, faith remains theoretical, unproven. It is through the fire that it becomes genuine and valuable, a faith that is precious to God. In our modern culture, we are often conditioned to avoid discomfort at all costs. We seek the quickest solutions, the easiest paths, and the most comfortable options. But God is not primarily interested in our comfort. He is interested in our growth. And growth requires stretching, pushing, and yes, enduring adversity. Just as muscles are strengthened through resistance, so is faith strengthened through challenges. It is in the very process of enduring hardship that we learn to trust God more deeply, to rely not on our own understanding, but on his greater wisdom and plan. Consider Job, a man whose faith was tested to the extreme. He lost his wealth, his family, and his health, all seemingly without reason. Yet, in the midst of his suffering, Job declared, "Though he slay me, yet will I trust him," Job 13:15. Job's faith was not in the outcome of his circumstances, but in the character and sovereignty of God. This is the essence of faith, trusting God, not because of what he can do for you, but simply because he is God and his ways are higher than ours. It is important to remember that faith does not grow in the absence of trials, but in their presence. Adversity reveals the true condition of your faith. When everything is stripped away, when the answer is delayed, and when the future is uncertain, you discover what you truly believe. Do you trust God only when life is good? Or can you trust him in the valley when nothing makes sense? God is not testing your faith to break you, but to build you. He allows you to go through adversity not as a punishment, but as a process of strengthening. Each trial you face is an opportunity for your faith to mature and deepen. As you endure the testing of your faith, you are being shaped into someone who can withstand greater challenges and fulfill greater purposes. So when adversity comes, do not despise it. Recognize it as a refining fire that purifies your faith, making it stronger and more enduring. True faith is not proven in the absence of hardship, but in its midst, where you choose to trust God even when you cannot see the way forward. God is more interested in your development than your deliverance. When we face challenges and difficulties, our natural response is to ask for immediate relief. We want God to take away the pain, resolve the problem, and bring us out of the storm as quickly as possible. But often, God's priorities are different from ours. While we are focused on escaping the difficulty, God is focused on shaping us through it. His primary concern is not just to deliver us from every hardship, but to use those hardships to develop our character, strengthen our faith, and prepare us for the destiny he has planned for us. God's goal is not always to remove us from the struggle, but to transform us in the midst of it. Think of the Israelites during their time in the wilderness. God had the power to bring them directly into the promised land, but instead he allowed them to journey through the wilderness for 40 years. Why? Because he was more interested in developing their trust, their obedience, and their relationship with him than simply giving them the land. The wilderness was not just a delay in their journey, it was a place of development. God was using the challenges of the wilderness to prepare them for the blessings and responsibilities that awaited them in the promised land. This principle applies to us today. Sometimes the storms we face are not meant to be escaped immediately, but to be endured, so that God can develop something deeper within us. When we go through difficulties, we often ask God, "Why aren't you taking this away?" But a better question might be, "God, what are you teaching me through this?" We must understand that God's process of development is often slow and thorough because he is more concerned with who we are becoming than with how quickly we can get out of our current situation. When we look at the life of Joseph, we see a clear example of this. Joseph was given a dream of greatness, a vision of his future. But before he could step into that destiny, he had to go through a long and painful process of development. Betrayed by his brothers, sold into slavery, falsely accused and thrown into prison, Joseph endured years of hardship. But during those years, God was working on Joseph's character, teaching him patience, humility, and leadership. By the time Joseph was finally elevated to a position of power in Egypt, he was not only capable of handling the responsibility, but also able to forgive his brothers and recognize God's hand in all that had happened. The years of difficulty were not wasted, they were essential to Joseph's development. In the same way, God allows us to go through seasons of difficulty not to harm us, but to shape us. He is developing qualities in us that will prepare us for greater purposes. Sometimes the very things we want God to deliver us from are the things He is using to develop in us the strength, wisdom, and faith we will need in the future. The pressures we face today may be molding us into the person we need to be to fulfill the calling He has placed on our lives. It's important to realize that God's ultimate goal is not just to give us temporary relief from our problems, but to make us more like Christ. Romans 8:29 says that we are predestined to be conformed to the image of His Son. This means that everything we go through, every challenge we face, is part of God's process of making us more like Jesus. And often it is in the furnace of affliction that we are most profoundly shaped. The qualities of patience, perseverance, humility, and compassion are not developed in times of ease. They are forged in times of difficulty. This is why it's so important to trust God's timing and His process. Deliverance may not come immediately, but that doesn't mean God is not at work. He is developing something within you that is far more valuable than momentary relief. He is preparing you for a greater purpose, a higher calling, and a deeper relationship with Him. God's focus is on your growth, not just your comfort. When you understand this, it changes the way you approach your challenges. Instead of simply praying for God to take the difficulty away, begin to ask Him to use the difficulty to change you, to grow you, and to make you more like Christ. So as you go through trials, remember that God is more interested in your development than your deliverance. He is not just concerned with getting you out of the storm. He is working in the storm to refine you. Embrace the process, trust His timing, and know that He is shaping you for something greater than you can see right now. Your response to difficulty reveals your trust in God's sovereignty. When life presses in on us with hardships, we're often tempted to react out of fear, frustration, or despair. But how we respond to difficulty reveals the depth of our trust in God's control over our lives. The truth is, God is sovereign. He is in control over all things at all times. Nothing in life catches Him by surprise. Every trial you face is either allowed or orchestrated by God for a purpose. And your response to these trials is a reflection of how much you believe in His sovereignty, His goodness, and His ability to turn things around for your good. It's easy to trust God when life is smooth. But it's in the storms that true trust is tested. When you're faced with a situation that seems impossible, when you don't have the answers, and when the outcome looks bleak, that is when your faith must rest not in what you can see, but in who God is. God is bigger than your situation. Today I want to talk to you about one of the most powerful forces in the world, your dreams. Each of us carries within us a vision, a desire, a goal, something that calls us to rise above the ordinary and step into a greater future. But the question is, how do we turn these dreams into reality? You see, every dream is born out of purpose. The power of purpose is one of the most fundamental forces in life. Purpose is the invisible thread that ties your dreams, aspirations, and actions together, giving them meaning and direction. Every dream begins with a purpose, and without purpose, dreams lack direction and intention. To understand the importance of purpose, we must first recognize that purpose is more than just a desire or an ambition. Purpose is the reason behind the dream. It is the why that fuels your efforts, guides your decisions, and keeps you grounded when the journey becomes difficult. When you have a clear sense of purpose, your dreams transform from mere wishes or fantasies into a roadmap for your life. Purpose acts as a compass, constantly pointing you toward the vision that you are trying to achieve. It ensures that even when circumstances change or challenges arise, you remain on course. Without purpose, you are left wandering through life without a clear destination. You may have dreams, but without a deeper reason for pursuing them, you are more likely to become distracted, discouraged, or disillusioned. Purpose not only provides direction, but it also brings clarity. In a world full of opportunities, distractions, and competing priorities, it it is easy to feel overwhelmed by the sheer number of possibilities. However, purpose acts as a filter. It helps you focus on what truly matters, cutting through the noise and allowing you to make decisions that are aligned with your deeper goals. When your dream is grounded in purpose, you know exactly what steps you need to take and what sacrifices you need to make. Purpose eliminates confusion and uncertainty because it defines what is most important to you. Moreover, purpose ignites passion. A dream without purpose may excite you for a moment, but it will not sustain you in the long run. True passion is born out of a sense of purpose. When you know why you are pursuing your dream, it creates a fire within you that propels you forward, even when the journey becomes challenging. Purpose fuels perseverance because it gives you a reason to keep going when the initial excitement wears off. It reminds you that the dream is not just about personal achievement, but about fulfilling a calling or making a meaningful impact. Purpose also provides resilience. Every dream will face obstacles, and without a strong sense of purpose, those obstacles can feel insurmountable. But when your dream is connected to a higher purpose, you are better equipped to face adversity. Purpose gives you the strength to endure setbacks, failures, and disappointments because it reminds you that the journey is worth the struggle. It keeps you grounded in the knowledge that what you are working toward is bigger than the challenges in front of you. Purpose is what turns obstacles into opportunities for growth and learning. Another important aspect of purpose is that it fosters fulfillment. Success is often measured by external achievements, money, status, recognition, but true fulfillment comes from knowing that you are living in alignment with your purpose. A dream that is not rooted in purpose may bring temporary satisfaction, but it will ultimately leave you feeling empty. When your dream is driven by purpose, however, every step you take brings a deep sense of fulfillment because you know that you are living out your calling. Purpose gives meaning to your efforts, making the journey as rewarding as the destination. Finally, purpose gives your dream endurance. Dreams are not fulfilled overnight, and the road to success is often long and difficult. Without purpose, it is easy to lose sight of your goal, especially when progress is slow. Purpose keeps you motivated in the long term. It helps you stay committed to the dream, even when immediate results are not visible. It reminds you that the pursuit of your dream is not just about the end result, but about the journey of becoming the person you were meant to be. Purpose is the driving force that turns a dream into a lifelong mission. It shapes your vision, fuels your passion, and sustains your efforts over time. Without purpose, dreams remain abstract and unattainable, but with purpose, they become tangible and achievable. Faith without action is mere fantasy. Too often, people fall into the trap of believing that dreams alone, without any corresponding effort, will materialize into reality. Faith is crucial. It is the foundation of every dream. It is the unwavering belief that what you envision in your heart is possible, that what seems distant today can become a reality tomorrow. Faith gives you hope. It inspires you, and it ignites the imagination. However, faith alone is not enough to bring a dream to life. If you stop at belief, you are left with an incomplete equation. Dreams, no matter how vivid or powerful, cannot fulfill themselves. Action is the bridge between the invisible world of dreams and the tangible world of reality. Many people get stuck at the dreaming stage, wishing and hoping that somehow their circumstances will change or that someone else will make their vision come true. But without taking deliberate steps toward that dream, it remains just that, a dream. Belief without corresponding action is the birthplace of frustration. Because while you can see the possibility in your mind, you lack the movement to bring it forth. Faith, then, must be coupled with discipline, consistency, and hard work. This is where dreams are tested. It is one thing to have faith in a better future, But it is quite another to wake up every day and take the steps required to create that future. The process of turning dreams into reality is not glamorous. It involves sacrifice, commitment, and persistence. It demands that you do the work, even on the days when it's difficult, when you're tired, or when the results seem far off. This is where many people fall short, not in their ability to dream, but in their willingness to put in the effort that dreams require. Action transforms faith into substance. You can believe in a better career, a healthier lifestyle, or a successful business, but unless you take the necessary steps, whether that's studying, practicing, or networking, those beliefs will never bear fruit. Every step you take brings your dream closer to reality. Even small, seemingly insignificant actions accumulate over time, creating momentum that eventually leads to the fulfillment of the vision. Action is not always grand or dramatic. Sometimes it is a series of small, consistent efforts that compound into something greater than you could have ever imagined. Moreover, taking action builds confidence. As you start to act on your faith, you begin to see progress, however incremental. This progress fuels your belief even further, creating a cycle of faith and action that propels you toward your dream. Every action you take reinforces the belief that your dream is possible. And with each step forward, your confidence grows. This is why action is so essential. It doesn't just bring you closer to your goal, it strengthens your resolve and deepens your faith. However, action is not just about doing for the sake of doing. It must be strategic and aligned with your vision. Mindless activity leads to burnout, but purposeful, focused action leads to results. It's important to ensure that every step you take is aligned with your ultimate goal. This means setting clear, achievable objectives and developing a plan of action that guides your efforts. It's not enough to simply work hard. You must also work smart, making sure that your actions are taking you in the right direction. Action is what separates dreamers from doers. Dreamers have ideas, visions, and aspirations, but doers are the ones who take those ideas and turn them into reality. Faith is essential, but it is only the starting point. The world rewards those who act on their dreams, who are willing to move beyond wishful thinking and put in the work required to manifest their vision. When you combine faith with action, you tap into the true power of your dream, and you begin to see it take shape in the real world. On the path to making your dreams a reality, one truth stands unshakable. You will face obstacles. This is not a matter of if, but when. Many people are unprepared for the inevitable roadblocks, setbacks, and challenges that arise on the journey toward their dreams. They expect a straight, smooth path from vision to fulfillment, and when difficulties arise, they become discouraged, disillusioned, and often abandon their dreams. But here's the key: obstacles are not meant to stop you, they are designed to refine you. Obstacles serve a greater purpose than just testing your resolve. They prepare you for the fulfillment of your dream. Every challenge you encounter is an opportunity for growth. When you face an obstacle, it forces you to develop new skills, new ways of thinking, and new strategies to overcome it. In many ways, obstacles are the training ground for success. Without these challenges, you would not become the person you need to be to sustain the dream once you achieve it. Often, the person you must become in order to fulfill the dream is more important than the dream itself. These obstacles also test the strength of your commitment. How badly do you want this dream? It's easy to be enthusiastic and motivated when everything is going smoothly. But what happens when the first major setback occurs? The difference between those who succeed and those who do not is often the ability to push through adversity. The moment you decide to pursue your dream, life will test you. This is not meant to discourage you, but rather to reveal how serious you are about your vision. Only those who remain determined in the face of challenges can turn their dreams into reality. When you face obstacles, one of the most important things to remember is that they are temporary. Too many people see obstacles as permanent roadblocks. They hit a wall and assume it means the end of the road. But in truth, obstacles are often a detour rather than a dead end. Sometimes the path to your dream requires a different route than the one you originally envisioned. What you perceive as a setback may actually be a setup for something greater. Challenges can open doors to new opportunities, fresh perspectives, and unexpected solutions that you wouldn't have discovered otherwise. Moreover, obstacles are also a great clarifier of priorities. When you face difficulties, you are forced to ask yourself whether your dream is truly worth the fight. This process of questioning is vital because it strips away superficial desires and reveals the core of what you really want. The struggle refines your dream, sharpening it until you are crystal clear about your purpose and your goal. Those who quit in the face of obstacles often lack the clarity of purpose that sustains real perseverance. Obstacles help you distill your dream to its essence, ensuring that you are pursuing something that aligns with deepest values and aspirations. It's also important to recognize that obstacles, while uncomfortable, are necessary for building resilience. Resilience is the ability to keep going even when things get tough, to bounce back from failures, and to remain steady in the face of uncertainty. Without obstacles, you would never have the opportunity to develop this crucial quality. Every time you overcome a challenge, you strengthen your resilience. You build the mental, emotional, and physical stamina needed to continue moving forward, no matter what. This resilience not only helps you in your current pursuit, but it also prepares you for future challenges that will undoubtedly come your way. When you understand that obstacles are part of the journey, you can shift your mindset from seeing them as problems to viewing them as stepping stones. Each obstacle is a lesson in disguise. It teaches you something about yourself, your dream, and the path you are on. Instead of asking, why is this happening to me? Ask, what is this teaching me? This change in perspective allows you to approach challenges with a sense of curiosity and growth rather than frustration and defeat. With this mindset, obstacles no longer feel like barriers, but become essential components of your development. Finally, obstacles help you build character. Pursuing a dream is not just about achieving a specific goal. It's about becoming the kind of person who can achieve that goal. The process of overcoming adversity shapes you into a person of perseverance, discipline, and integrity. It deepens your understanding of yourself, strengthens your sense of purpose, and fosters humility. Because you recognize that the journey is not easy, and success is not guaranteed. But when you learn to embrace obstacles, you build the kind of character that not only reaches dreams, but also sustains them. Obstacles are not your enemy. They are, in fact, essential elements of your journey toward realizing your dream. They refine, clarify, and strengthen you in ways that smooth sailing never could. Understand that obstacles are not meant to discourage you. They are there to build you, to prepare you for the fulfillment of your vision. The key is not to avoid obstacles, but to face them head on, knowing that every challenge brings you one step closer to making your dream a reality. Every dream has a process, and the journey to realizing it is marked by a timeline that requires patience. The idea of patience might seem simple, yet it is one of the most challenging aspects of achieving any significant goal. Our culture often glorifies instant gratification, making it easy to expect immediate results. However, turning dreams into reality is rarely a swift or straightforward process. True success is built over time through consistent effort and enduring commitment. The process of bringing a dream to fruition involves several stages, each with its own set of tasks, milestones, and challenges. At the beginning, the excitement of a new dream can make the early stages seem exhilarating. Ideas are fresh, plans are being formulated, and possibilities feel endless. However, as the initial enthusiasm wanes, the reality of the long journey ahead becomes apparent. This is where patience plays a crucial role. The vision might be clear, but the path to achieving it is often winding and filled with unforeseen hurdles. Patience is the ability to stay the course despite delays, setbacks, and the often slow pace of progress. During this journey, it's important to recognize that progress is not always linear. There will be times when it feels like you are moving forward, and other times when it seems as though you are going backward or standing still. These fluctuations are a natural part of the process. Success is not about a straight trajectory from start to finish, but about enduring through the ups and downs, adapting to changes, and persisting through difficulties. Patience allows you to stay focused and maintain your efforts, even when the results are not immediately visible. In addition to enduring through delays, patience also involves trusting the process. Each step, no matter how small, is a part of a larger plan. Even when immediate results are not apparent, every action you take and every decision you make is contributing to the overall goal. Trusting in the process means believing that every effort, every mistake, and every lesson learned is a necessary part of achieving your dream. It's the understanding that the journey itself is as important as the destination, and that growth and development are happening even when progress seems slow. Moreover, patience helps in developing resilience. As you wait for your dream to materialize, you build the mental strength needed to handle future challenges. Resilience is cultivated through the experience of navigating delays and overcoming obstacles. When you practice patience, you learn to manage stress, stay optimistic, and remain determined, all of which are crucial for long-term success. This resilience becomes a valuable asset, enabling you to face future difficulties with greater confidence and strength. Patience also involves accepting the timing of your dream. Not every dream unfolds according to your personal timeline. Sometimes the dream needs to mature and you need to grow into it. This acceptance is about recognizing that the timing may not be perfect, but it is still part of the journey. There are external factors beyond your control that influence the pace of progress, and sometimes the best you can do is to focus on your efforts and trust that the timing will work out in the end. Patience is about letting go of the need for control and embracing the uncertainty. Another crucial aspect of patience is maintaining motivation. It is easy to stay motivated when progress is visible and goals are within reach. However, when progress is slow, maintaining motivation requires a conscious effort. This is where setting smaller, achievable milestones becomes important. Celebrating these smaller victories helps keep you engaged and reminds you that you are making progress, even if it's not as rapid as you'd like. Patience allows you to keep your eyes on the long-term vision while appreciating the incremental successes along the way. Lastly, patience fosters personal growth. The journey of pursuing a dream is as much about developing yourself as it is about achieving the goal. Through patience, you learn to manage expectations, develop a stronger work ethic, and cultivate a deeper understanding of your own strengths and weaknesses. This personal growth is integral to not only achieving your dream, but also to sustaining it and finding fulfillment in it. In conclusion, the process of turning dreams into reality requires a profound level of patience. It involves enduring through delays, trusting in the process, developing resilience, accepting the timing, maintaining motivation, and embracing personal growth. Patience is not simply about waiting, it is about actively engaging in the journey with a steadfast belief that your efforts will eventually lead to success. By embracing patience, you ensure that you are not just moving toward your dream, but growing into the person capable of achieving it. When you turn your dreams into reality, you create a legacy. This is one of the most profound aspects of fulfilling a dream, understanding that your achievements extend beyond your own personal success and have the power to influence and inspire others. A legacy is not just about leaving behind a tangible outcome, it's about the impact you make on the world and the lasting contributions you leave for future generations. Creating a legacy involves more than simply reaching your goals. It's about how you approach the journey and the values you embody along the way. When you pursue your dreams with integrity, passion, and commitment, you set an example for others to follow. Your actions become a source of inspiration, demonstrating that perseverance, hard work, and dedication can turn even the most ambitious dreams into reality. This inspiration can encourage others to chase their own dreams, fueling a cycle of motivation and achievement. A legacy is also about the positive change you bring. Whether your dream involves starting a business, making a scientific breakthrough, or contributing to your community, the impact of your success can extend far beyond your immediate circle. For instance, an entrepreneur who creates a successful company might not only provide jobs and economic growth, but also inspire future entrepreneurs to innovate and take risks. Similarly, an individual who makes a significant contribution to their community might inspire others to get involved and make a difference. The ripples of your success can influence and uplift many, creating a lasting legacy of positive change. In addition to inspiring and affecting others, your legacy is reflected in the values and principles you uphold throughout your journey. How you achieve your dreams through honesty, resilience, and ethical behavior becomes a testament to the kind of person you are. Your character and the manner in which you handle challenges and success shape the way people remember you. A legacy built on strong values leaves a lasting impression, demonstrating that success is not solely about the end result, but about the journey and the manner in which you achieve your goals. Moreover, a well-lived dream leaves behind a foundation for others to build upon. When you achieve something significant, you often create a platform for others to continue and expand upon. This might be through establishing institutions, creating resources, or paving the way for new opportunities. For instance, a philanthropist who builds a foundation might create a resource that helps countless individuals achieve their own dreams. By laying down a foundation, you enable future generations to benefit from the work you've done and to reach new heights. Creating a legacy also involves sharing your knowledge and experiences. As you achieve your dreams, you gain insights and wisdom that can be invaluable to others. Sharing your journey, offering guidance, and mentoring others helps to ensure that the lessons you've learned are passed on. This transfer of knowledge and experience enriches the lives of those who follow in your footsteps and contributes to the growth and development of others. Finally, your legacy is about the emotional impact you leave behind. The relationships you build, the people you inspire, and the lives you touch create a lasting emotional imprint. The way you make others feel, whether through your achievements, your kindness, or your support, can leave a lasting memory that endures long after you are gone. This emotional connection is often what people remember most about you and is a powerful component of your legacy. In essence, turning your dreams into reality is not just about personal success, it's about creating a legacy that impacts, inspires, and influences others. It's about leaving behind a meaningful contribution that continues to affect the world in positive ways. Your legacy is the embodiment of your dreams and the values that guided you through the journey. By focusing on this broader impact, you ensure that your achievements resonate far beyond your own life, creating a lasting, meaningful imprint on the world. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, today I want to speak to you about a powerful truth. Breakthrough is often just around the corner. It may feel distant, shrouded in frustration and uncertainty, but the signs are there, waiting for us to recognize them. First, let's talk about frustration. Increased frustration can be one of the most powerful indicators that a significant change is on the horizon. It often arises when we feel stuck in situations that no longer serve our purpose or align with our true selves. This frustration can manifest in various aspects of life, whether it's in our careers, relationships, or for personal growth. When you find yourself feeling increasingly restless, it's essential to recognize that this emotion is not merely a sign of dissatisfaction, it is an urgent call to action. This heightened sense of frustration serves as a signal that something within you is yearning for transformation. It's as if a part of your spirit is awakening, demanding to be acknowledged. You may notice that the same patterns or obstacles keep resurfacing, leaving you feeling trapped and powerless. Instead of dismissing this frustration, lean into it. Understand that it is a natural response to the dissonance between your current reality and the life you desire. This internal conflict is an opportunity for growth and a precursor to your breakthrough. As you sit with this frustration, allow yourself to reflect on what it reveals about your desires and aspirations. What is it that you truly want? What dreams have you set aside because of fear or complacency? The more you explore these questions, the clearer your path will become. This process of introspection is crucial as it helps illuminate the areas of your life that require change. Often we overlook our inner voice, but frustration can amplify it, urging you to listen more intently. Moreover, this feeling of restlessness often compels us to take action, pushing us out of our comfort zones. It encourages us to seek new experiences, explore different opportunities, and confront challenges head-on. This drive to break free from stagnation can lead to remarkable discoveries about ourselves and our capabilities. In this state, we become more open to change and more willing to take risks that can ultimately lead us to our breakthrough. Embracing frustration as a catalyst for change means recognizing its value. It can transform into a powerful motivator, propelling you toward a more fulfilling life. Acknowledge that this emotion is not an enemy, but a guide, leading you to deeper self-awareness and renewed purpose. As you confront and embrace this feeling, remember that it often precedes significant growth. Your breakthrough is on the other side of this frustration, waiting for you to take that bold step forward. Divine connections often appear when we least expect them, serving as profound signs that our breakthrough is drawing near. These connections can come in many forms, whether through conversations with strangers, reunions with old friends, or new relationships that spark inspiration. Each encounter can hold the potential for transformation, opening doors that may have previously seemed closed. When you find yourself meeting new people or rekindling old relationships, take a moment to reflect on the timing and circumstances. It's not merely coincidence. These moments are often orchestrated by a higher power. These divine connections can introduce you to fresh perspectives, new ideas, and opportunities that align with your journey. They may challenge your thinking, encourage you to step outside your comfort zone, or offer support when you need it most. Moreover, these interactions can provide valuable insights into your current situation. A simple conversation can ignite a spark of inspiration, leading you to rethink your approach to challenges. Sometimes the advice or encouragement you receive from someone you barely know can resonate deeply and help you see your situation from a different angle. This shift in perspective is often what you need to propel yourself toward your breakthrough. It's essential to remain open and receptive during this time. Embrace the unexpected. The universe often delivers what we need in ways we cannot anticipate. Be willing to engage with others, share your own experiences, and listen to their stories. Each interaction carries the potential for growth and learning, providing vital clues about your next steps. Additionally, consider the importance of gratitude in these moments. Acknowledging and appreciating the connections you make can amplify their impact. When you express gratitude, you create a positive energy that attracts even more opportunities into your life. This openness can set the stage for more divine connections, fostering a network of support that can guide you through your journey. As you navigate this period, trust that these encounters are part of a larger tapestry being woven in your life. They are not random, they are divine nudges urging you to align with your purpose. Embrace each connection with curiosity and gratitude, knowing that each person you meet could play a significant role in your transformation. Recognize that you are not alone on this journey. You are surrounded by people who are meant to cross your path at just the right moment. Unshakable hope is a profound indicator that your breakthrough is drawing near. When faced with challenges and adversity, it's easy to feel discouraged and lose sight of the possibilities ahead. However, a persistent sense of hope, even in the darkest moments, signifies that your spirit is aligning with your true purpose. This hope acts as a guiding light, illuminating the path toward change and renewal. Experiencing unshakable hope often means that deep down, you believe in the potential for a brighter future. It's a feeling that transcends the current circumstances, reminding you that obstacles are not permanent roadblocks but temporary challenges to be overcome. This belief in a better tomorrow can empower you to keep moving forward, even when the road ahead seems daunting. When hope resides in your heart, it fuels resilience. You begin to view setbacks as opportunities for growth rather than reasons to give up. This shift in mindset is crucial, as it allows you to harness your energy in a constructive. Instead of dwelling on what is wrong, you start to focus on what can be improved. Hope provides the strength to take actionable steps toward your goals, reinforcing your commitment to personal and spiritual growth. Moreover, unshakable hope often attracts positive energy and opportunities into your life. When you embody this mindset, you become a magnet for possibilities. People are drawn to your optimism, and as you share your vision with others, you create a ripple effect. This positivity not only uplifts your own spirit, but also inspires those around you to cultivate hope in their own lives. During challenging times, it's essential to nurture this hope actively. Engage in practices that uplift your spirit, such as prayer, meditation, or journaling. Surround yourself with positive influences, friends, mentors, or communities that resonate with your aspirations. These practices can strengthen your belief in what is possible, reinforcing the idea that change is on the horizon. As you embrace this unshakable hope, remember that it is a sign of your readiness for transformation. It indicates that you are not just waiting for change to happen, you are actively participating in the creation of your future. Trust that this hope is a powerful ally guiding you through uncertainty and paving the way for your breakthrough. With each passing day, as you nurture this hope, you are building the foundation for the extraordinary changes that await you. Intense prayer and reflection play a pivotal role in preparing for your breakthrough. When life becomes overwhelming, the practice of turning inward allows you to reconnect with your core beliefs and aspirations. This spiritual diligence is not just about seeking answers, it's about cultivating a deeper relationship with your inner self and the divine. Engaging regular prayer creates a sacred space for dialogue with God. It's a moment where you can express your fears, hopes, and desires, laying bare your soul. This communication fosters clarity, guidance. As you articulate your struggles and seek wisdom, you often find that answers arise in unexpected ways. This connection serves to reaffirm your faith and reminds you that you are not alone in your journey. Reflection complements prayer beautifully. Taking time to pause and examine your life allows you to gain insights into your experiences. It helps you identify patterns, recognize areas that need change, and appreciate how far you've come. Through reflection, you can ask yourself important questions. What lessons have I learned? How have I grown? What am I truly passionate about? These inquiries can illuminate your path, guiding you toward your next steps. Moreover, intense prayer and reflection can bring a sense of peace amidst chaos. When faced with uncertainty, turning to prayer can ground you, allowing you to release anxiety and cultivate trust. This inner calm opens your heart to receiving guidance and inspiration. You become more attuned to the subtle nudges and signs that indicate your breakthrough is approaching. It's essential to be intentional in these practices. Create a routine that allows for uninterrupted time dedicated to prayer and reflection. Whether it's early in the morning or late at night, find a moment that works for you. Use this time to meditate, read spiritual texts, or simply sit in silence, allowing your thoughts to settle. The more you invest in this practice, the more you will uncover the richness of your spiritual journey. As you engage in intense prayer and reflection, you align your heart with your purpose. This alignment not only prepares you for what's next, but also reinforces your commitment to personal growth. It serves as a reminder that breakthroughs often require inner work. Through this process, you cultivate the strength and clarity needed to embrace the changes ahead, knowing that you are being guided every step of the way. A strong desire for change is a compelling sign that your breakthrough is near. When you feel an overwhelming urge to shift the trajectory of your life, it often indicates that you are ready to step into new possibilities. This desire is a natural response to the realization that your current situation is no longer fulfilling or aligned with your true purpose. It reflects an inner awakening, signaling that something profound is about to unfold. This desire for change can manifest in various ways. Perhaps you feel restless in your job, dissatisfied in your relationships, or simply yearning for personal growth. It's essential to recognize that this feeling is not merely a passing whim. It's a crucial part of your journey. Acknowledging this desire is the first step toward transformation. It encourages you to explore what changes are necessary to create the life you envision. When you embrace this yearning, you empower yourself to take actionable steps. This could involve seeking new opportunities, pursuing education or skills that excite you, or even making bold decisions that push you out of your comfort zone. The desire for change often ignites a fire within, propelling you to seek out experiences that resonate with your aspirations. This proactive approach is essential. It demonstrates your commitment to manifesting your dreams. Moreover, this desire serves as a catalyst for introspection. As you contemplate the changes you want to make, you begin to clarify your values and priorities. What truly matters to you? What are you passionate about? This self-reflection is crucial in helping you align your actions with your authentic self. By understanding your core desires, you can make informed choices that lead you closer to your breakthrough. It's also important to be patient and compassionate with yourself during this process. Change often requires time and effort, and it's natural to experience moments of doubt or fear. However, maintaining a clear vision of what you want can help you navigate these challenges. Surround yourself with supportive individuals who encourage your growth and believe in your vision. Their energy can amplify your desire and motivate you to keep moving forward. As you cultivate this strong desire for change, remember that it is a powerful force. It is a signal that you are ready to evolve and embrace new opportunities. Trust in this feeling and allow it to guide you toward the extraordinary transformation that lies ahead. By harnessing this desire, you are actively participating in the creation of your future, laying the groundwork for the breakthrough you seek. Overcoming past hurts is a crucial step in preparing for your breakthrough. When you carry the weight of unresolved pain and resentment, it can hinder your ability to move forward. These past experiences, whether from relationships, failures, or disappointments, create emotional barriers that can prevent you from fully embracing new opportunities. Acknowledging and releasing these burdens is essential for your healing and growth. The process of letting go begins with recognition. You must first confront the emotions tied to past hurts. This can be challenging, as it often requires vulnerability and honesty with yourself. Reflecting on these experiences allows you to understand how they have shaped your beliefs and behaviors. It's important to realize that while these experiences are a part of your story, they do not define your future. Forgiveness is a powerful aspect of this healing journey. Forgiving those who have wronged you and even forgiving yourself for past mistakes liberates you from the shackles of resentment. This act does not condone what happened. Rather, it allows you to reclaim your power and peace. By choosing to forgive, you create space for healing and transformation, enabling you to focus on the present and future rather than being anchored to the past. As you work through your emotions, consider seeking support from trusted friends, mentors, or professionals. Talking about your experiences can provide perspective and validation. Sometimes, simply sharing your story with someone who listens can facilitate healing. Engaging in practices such as journaling or therapy can also be instrumental in processing your feelings and gaining clarity. In addition to forgiveness, cultivating a mindset of gratitude can significantly impact your healing journey. As you begin to release past hurts, take time to reflect on the lessons learned from those experiences. Each challenge has contributed to your growth, shaping you into the person you are today. Embracing this perspective can transform your relationship with your past, turning pain into wisdom. Ultimately, overcoming past hurts is not a one-time event, it's an ongoing process. It requires patience and compassion for yourself as you navigate the complexities of healing. However, the rewards of this journey are profound. As you let go of what no longer serves you, you create room for new blessings and opportunities to enter your life. This process of healing not only prepares you for your breakthrough, but also empowers you to embrace a future filled with possibility and hope. By releasing the past, you free yourself to step boldly into the life that awaits you. Unusual opportunities often signify that your breakthrough is near, acting as divine nudges, urging you to take action. When unexpected doors begin to open in your life, it's essential to recognize these moments as signs of progress. They can manifest in various forms: job offers, invitations to collaborate, or even chance encounters that lead to new pathways. These opportunities are not mere coincidences, they are invitations to step into the next chapter of your journey. When you notice these unusual opportunities, it's crucial to approach them with an open mind and heart. Often they come at times when you least expect them, disrupting your routine and prompting you to consider alternatives. Rather than hesitating or questioning their validity, allow yourself to explore these possibilities. Embrace the excitement and curiosity they bring, as they can lead you to places you never imagined. This willingness to seize opportunities reflects your readiness for change. It demonstrates that you are not just passively waiting for your breakthrough, you are actively engaging with the world around you. Trusting your instincts and intuition during these moments is essential. Your gut feelings can guide you toward decisions that resonate with your aspirations and goals. Moreover, unusual opportunities often require you to step outside your comfort zone. This may involve taking risks or making choices that feel unfamiliar. It's important to remember that growth rarely occurs in the comfort of the known. Embrace the discomfort that comes with stepping into the unknown, for it is in these moments that transformation often occurs. As you navigate these opportunities, be sure to reflect on how they align with your values and long-term goals. Not every opportunity will be the right fit, and that's okay. Trust yourself to discern which paths resonate most deeply with your vision for the future. This discernment will empower you to make choices that propel you toward your breakthrough. Additionally, consider the network of connections that can arise from these opportunities. Engaging with new people or communities can lead to further possibilities, creating a ripple effect that expands your horizons. Each interaction can open additional doors, so be open to building relationships that can support your journey. In summary, unusual opportunities are powerful indicators of impending breakthroughs. They serve as reminders that you are on the right path and that change is actively unfolding in your life. By remaining open, courageous, and discerning, you can navigate these moments with intention, paving the way for extraordinary transformations that await you. Embrace these opportunities with enthusiasm, for they are often the stepping stones to your most significant breakthroughs. Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, I greet you in love and peace today. There is something about timing that we often struggle to understand. We live in a world that thrives on speed. We want everything fast, instant success, immediate answers, and quick solutions. But the truth is, God does not operate on our timeline. God's time is always perfect. First, we must understand that God's timing is a reflection of His purpose. This simple yet profound truth holds the key to understanding much of what we go through in life. In a world that constantly pushes us to move faster, accomplish more, and achieve everything as quickly as possible, it can be difficult to grasp the idea that not everything happens according to our schedule. As human beings, we are naturally impatient. We want things done now, if not yesterday. We measure progress in days, weeks, and months, and we don't see immediate results. We begin to doubt. But what we often fail to realize is that everything in life is governed by divine timing. The Bible is filled with examples of God's perfect timing. We see it in the lives of countless individuals whom God used for His purposes, men and women, who had to wait years, sometimes decades, before the promises of God came to pass. And yet, Each of those delays served a purpose. What appears to us as a delay is never a denial in God's kingdom. Instead, it is part of a larger plan that is beyond our limited understanding. When we think of divine timing, we must first recognize that God operates outside of time as we know it. We are confined by hours, days, and years, but God is eternal. He sees the beginning and the end of everything, and He orchestrates events in ways that we cannot comprehend. To us, a day may seem like a long time, but Scripture reminds us that with the Lord, a day is like 1,000 years, and 1,000 years are like a day, 2 Peter 3:8. This means that what we perceive as a delay may, in fact, be perfectly aligned with God's greater purpose for our lives. Often we misunderstand delays as denials. We pray for things, whether it's a breakthrough in our career, a restoration of a relationship, or healing from illness, and when we don't see immediate results, we assume that God has not heard us. We may begin to think that perhaps it's not His will, or that we've been forgotten. But the truth is, God's silence is not His absence. His not yet is not in sometimes. The very thing we are asking for is not denied. It is simply delayed until the appointed time. When we look at the life of Joseph, we see a powerful example of this truth. Joseph was given a dream by God when he was just a young man. In his dream, he saw his brothers bowing down to him, a clear indication that he would one day rise to a position of authority. But what followed that dream was not immediate success. Instead, Joseph was sold into slavery by his own brothers, falsely accused, and thrown into prison. For years, it seemed as though the dream God had given him was dead. But in reality, every step of Joseph's journey was preparing him for the fulfillment of that dream. God's purpose was unfolding in His perfect time, and when the right moment came, Joseph was elevated to the highest position in Egypt, second only to Pharaoh. The delay was not a denial, it was divine preparation. We see this same pattern throughout Scripture. Abraham and Sarah were promised a son, but they had to wait 25 years before Isaac was born. David was anointed king as a young boy, but it was years before he actually took the throne. Even Jesus, the Son of God, did not begin His public ministry until He was 30 years old, though He was aware of His divine calling from a young age. In each of these cases, God's purpose was unfolding according to His timing, not the timeline that those individuals might have expected or desired. So why does God delay? Why doesn't He give us what we ask for right away? One reason is that God is more concerned with our growth than with our comfort. Delays often serve as a means of preparation. They allow us to develop the character, maturity, and strength we need to handle the blessings and responsibilities that God has in store for us. If Joseph had been elevated to a position of power immediately after his dream, he would not have been ready to lead a nation through a time of famine. It was through the trials and challenges he faced that he was shaped into the man who could fulfill God's purpose. Moreover, God's timing ensures that everything happens in alignment with His will. If we were to receive blessings prematurely, we might not appreciate them, or worse, we might misuse them. But when God gives us what we need at the right time, it brings glory to Him and fulfills His greater plan for our lives and the lives of others. Waiting on God's timing requires faith. It requires trusting that He knows what is best for us, even when we cannot see the full picture. It requires surrendering our desire for control and acknowledging that His ways are higher than our ways, and His thoughts are higher than our thoughts, Isaiah 55:9. When we trust God's timing, we are also trusting His purpose. Delays can be frustrating, but they are often the very thing that allows God's plan to come to fruition in a way that far exceeds our expectations. What we see as a setback is often a setup for something greater. We must remember that God is not in a hurry, but He is always on time. Everything that happens in our lives, every season we go through, is part of a divine process. It may not always make sense in the moment, but as we look back, we often see that the timing was indeed perfect. Another important aspect of understanding God's perfect timing is recognizing that delays often reveal deeper lessons and cultivate qualities within us that we might not otherwise develop. Patience, endurance, humility, and trust are not traits that come naturally to most people. They are refined through experiences that require us to wait. In the midst of waiting, God is shaping us, teaching us to lean on Him more fully and to rely less on our own understanding. When life doesn't unfold according to our expected timeline, it's easy to become anxious, frustrated, or even doubtful of God's plan. But if we take a step back and reflect, we'll see that it is during these seasons of waiting that our faith is tested and strengthened. The waiting period is not passive, it's an active process of refining, growth, and preparation. It requires us to cultivate a deeper relationship with God, learning to listen for His voice, and recognizing that His delays are often for our benefit. Consider the process of growing a tree. You plant the seed, water it, and care for it, but no matter how much you want to speed up the process, you can't rush its growth. The tree takes time to mature, to put down deep roots, to grow strong branches. In the same way, God is allowing us to grow, to mature, and to deepen our faith so that we are ready when the time comes for us to step into the fullness of His plan. During times of delay, we may feel as though nothing is happening, but in reality, much is happening beneath the surface. Just as the seed is doing essential work underground before it breaks through the soil, God is doing essential work in our hearts, preparing us for what is ahead. Delays are never wasted time in God's kingdom. Every moment is used for preparation, even when it seems as though progress is slow or invisible. Moreover, God's timing allows for the orchestration of other events and people in ways that we cannot see. Often His plans for our lives are interconnected with the lives of others. His timing ensures that everything aligns perfectly, not just for us, but for everyone involved. There may be other people, situations, or events that need to fall into place before His purpose for you is fulfilled. His delays are often the result of working all things together for the good of those who love Him and are called according to His purpose, Romans 8:28. What looks like a pause or a detour in our journey may be God positioning other elements in the background so that when the time comes, everything is in perfect alignment. This interconnectedness of God's timing reminds us of our place in the grander scheme of His divine plan. Sometimes our personal delays are part of a much larger narrative that involves other people, circumstances, and events. What may seem like a delay for us may be the necessary preparation for someone else's breakthrough, or it may be setting the stage for a greater purpose that goes beyond our individual lives. God's timing, therefore, is not just about us. It's about us. It's about His kingdom and His overarching plan for humanity. As we reflect on the perfection of God's timing, it's crucial to remember that God is never late, nor is He early. He is always right on time. What appears to be a delay in our eyes is often God operating with precision. When the time is right, everything falls into place effortlessly. Opportunities arise, doors open, and what once seemed impossible becomes possible. All the pieces of the puzzle come together in ways that we could never have orchestrated on our own. God's timing, then, is not something to fear or resist. It is something to embrace with trust and faith. When we understand that His timing is a reflection of His purpose, we can let go of our need for control and rest in the assurance that God knows what He is doing. The delays we face are not meant to discourage us, but to encourage us to lean in, to seek God more, and to grow in ways that will prepare us for what lies ahead. It's in the waiting that we learn to pray deeper prayers, to trust more fully, and to surrender completely. And when the time comes, when God's perfect timing unfolds, the fulfillment of His promise will not only meet but exceed our expectations. we will look back and realize that the wait was worth it, that God's timing was indeed perfect all along. Another vital aspect of God's perfect timing is how it reshapes our understanding of success and achievement. In our fast-paced society, we are often conditioned to believe that success is defined by how quickly we reach our goals, how fast we can accomplish something, or how soon we can demonstrate visible results. However, God's view of success is entirely different from our worldly perspectives. While we measure success by immediate outcomes and milestones, God measures success by the depth of our character, the faithfulness of our obedience, and the alignment of our lives with His purpose. When we are forced to wait, we come to realize that success in God's eyes is not about speed, it is about process. The journey matters just as much, if not more, than the destination. Waiting teaches us that the quality of what God produces in us during the delay is often far more important than the quantity of achievements we might desire in the short term. God's timing is designed not to rush us through life, but to ensure that every aspect of our development, spiritually, emotionally, and mentally, is carefully crafted to fit His ultimate design for our lives. Consider how Jesus operated in His ministry. He didn't rush from one town to the next, trying to perform as many miracles as possible to meet human expectations. Instead, He moved according to God's timing, stopping when necessary, resting when needed, and aligning His actions with the Father's will at every turn. Even in moments when others felt His timing was too slow, like when Lazarus was sick and Jesus delayed, going to Him, His delay served a higher purpose. The delay allowed for a greater miracle, showing not only that Jesus could heal the sick, but that He could raise the dead. The waiting produced a far greater revelation of His power and glory. This is what happens when we trust God's timing in our own lives. We may have a picture in our minds of how things should unfold, but God's timing often brings about a far greater outcome than we could have imagined. What we thought would be simple blessings or achievements become extraordinary testimonies of His faithfulness. The waiting allows for a deeper work within us and for a more powerful result through us. In fact, if God were to give us everything we ask for right away, we might miss out on the greater miracles that He is preparing behind the scenes. Furthermore, God's timing helps to free us from the pressure to conform to society's expectations and timelines. So often, we feel the weight of comparison looking at others who seem to be advancing more quickly, achieving more, or living the life we desire. But when we rest in the assurance that God's timing is perfect, we are released from that burden. We no longer have to measure ourselves against the world's clock or feel inadequate because we are on a different timeline. God's purpose for each of us is unique, and His timing for our lives is specifically tailored to fulfill that purpose. This perspective not only brings peace, but also restores joy in the journey. Instead of rushing from one goal to the next, constantly feeling the need to prove ourselves, we can embrace the season we are in with contentment. We begin to appreciate the growth that happens in the waiting and the wisdom that comes with patience. The process becomes just as valuable as the outcome, because we are not simply waiting for a promise to be fulfilled. We are being transformed into the kind of people who can carry that promise with integrity and grace. God's timing also works to protect us. Sometimes we are not ready for what we are asking for, even though we believe we are. There are moments when God's delay is a shield, preventing us from stepping into something prematurely and harming ourselves in the process. We may think we are prepared for the blessing, the position, or the opportunity, but God, in His infinite wisdom, knows better. He sees the dangers we cannot see and understands the responsibilities we might not be able to handle just yet. By delaying certain things, God ensures that when we do step into what He has for us, we will be equipped to sustain it and flourish in it. This protective aspect of God's timing is often difficult to accept, especially when we feel desperate for change or for something to happen in our lives. But as we mature in our faith, we begin to trust that God's not now is as much an expression of His love as His yes. Delays may feel like frustrations to us, but in reality, they are part of God's safeguard to prevent us from experiencing failure, burnout, or setbacks that we are not yet prepared to handle. Ultimately, God's timing is a reminder that He is sovereign over our lives. We can plan, strategize, and work hard, but it is God who orders our steps and determines when things will come to pass. Proverbs 16:9 says, "In their hearts humans plan their course, but the Lord establishes their steps." This doesn't mean we should abandon our plans or goals, but it does mean that we should hold them loosely, recognizing that God's timing is not something we can control. Instead of resisting the waiting, we learn to embrace it as part of God's perfect process. As we do, we find that His timing not only fulfills His promises, but does so in a way that is far more beautiful, purposeful, and perfect than anything we could have arranged on our own. Another essential truth about God's perfect timing is that it teaches us to live in total dependence on Him. In a culture that celebrates independence and self-sufficiency, waiting on God can feel counterintuitive. We are often taught to take matters into our own hands, to push through obstacles, and to create our own opportunities. But God's timing requires us to relinquish control and trust that He is working even when we cannot see it. It challenges us to step back and recognize that our lives are not solely in our hands, but are guided by a higher power who knows far more than we do. When God delays, it is an invitation to lean more fully into Him. The waiting period becomes a time to deepen our relationship with Him, to seek His face, and to understand His will more clearly. Rather than rushing ahead and trying to force things to happen on our terms, we learn to rest in His presence and allow Him to guide our next steps. This dependence on God brings us to a place of humility, where we acknowledge that we do not have all the answers, nor do we need to. It is in this place of surrender that we experience the peace that comes from knowing that God's plans are greater than our own. We see this kind of dependence modeled throughout the Bible, particularly in the life of King David. Before he became king, David spent years running from King Saul, who sought to kill him. Even though David had already been anointed as the future king of Israel, he did not try to take the throne by force. He had opportunities to kill Saul and seize power, but he refused to do so because he knew that it wasn't yet God's appointed time for him to reign. Instead of rushing ahead and taking matters into his own hands, David trusted in God's timing. He depended on God to bring about His promise in His own way and in His own time. David's decision to wait demonstrated not only his trust in God's timing, but also his deep dependence on God's guidance and protection during those years of hardship. In the same way, when we wait on God's timing, we are actively placing our dependence on Him. We are saying, God, I trust You to work this out in the way You see fit, and I trust that You will lead me to the right outcome. This kind of trust doesn't come naturally. It is cultivated through experience. The more we practice waiting on God, the more we begin to see that His ways are higher than our ways, and His timing is far better than anything we could plan for ourselves. Waiting also cultivates in us the discipline of prayer. When we are in seasons of waiting, we are often more inclined to seek God earnestly. The uncertainty of waiting leads us to ask for His wisdom, His guidance, and His peace. This deepens our communication with Him, and our prayers become less about asking for specific outcomes and more about seeking His will. In this process, we grow spiritually, developing a greater sensitivity to His voice and a deeper understanding of His character. Consider how Jesus, before choosing His 12 disciples, spent the entire night in prayer, Luke 6:12-13. Even the Son of God, who had perfect communion with the Father, spent time in prayer before making crucial decisions. He depended on the Father's guidance and moved only when the time was right. Jesus shows us that dependence on God is not a sign of weakness, but a mark of true strength and faith. It is the ultimate act of surrender, acknowledging that apart from God, we can do nothing of lasting value. This kind of dependence also shapes our ability to discern God's voice amidst the noise of life. When we are impatient, we often jump at the first opportunity that presents itself, mistaking it for God's timing. But when we learn to wait and depend on Him, we become more attuned to His leading. We begin to recognize that not every opportunity is from God, and not every open door is meant to be walked through. Dependence on God allows us to discern the difference between good opportunities and God-ordained opportunities. It keeps us grounded, ensuring that we are moving in alignment with His will rather than being swayed by impatience or pressure from the outside world. Moreover, dependence on God during times of waiting reminds us of His faithfulness. Every time we trust Him with our timeline and see His plan unfold, we are reminded that He has never failed us. His track record is flawless. This growing awareness of God's faithfulness strengthens our trust in Him for future seasons of waiting. We begin to build a history with God, moments when we waited and saw His perfect timing bring about outcomes that were beyond anything we could have achieved on our own. This history becomes a foundation of faith that we can rely on during future challenges and uncertainties. In essence, God's timing teaches us to shift from a mindset of self-reliance to one of divine dependence. It reminds us that while we are responsible for making wise decisions, ultimately it is God who orchestrates the course of our lives. When we wait on Him, we are demonstrating that we trust Him to be our provider, protector, and guide. We stop striving in our own strength and start resting in the assurance that He is in control. This kind of dependence not only brings peace, but also positions us to receive God's best for our lives, for His timing is always aligned with His purpose and His love for us.
Silence is not the absence of words, but the presence of wisdom. It is a strategic decision, not a passive reaction. Many people equate silence with weakness, with submission, or even with ignorance. But in truth, silence often reveals more strength than words ever could. It is a deliberate choice made by those who understand the weight of their words and the power of restraint. When you choose to remain silent in moments where others expect a reaction, you communicate far more than they can comprehend. In today's world, where everyone is clamoring for attention, where opinions are constantly being thrown around, and where words are used as weapons, silence becomes a rare and valuable tool. It requires great self-control to hold back when you are provoked, to remain calm when emotions run high. But silence is not a sign of disengagement or passivity. It is, in fact, a signal of emotional maturity. Silence says, I do not need to explain myself to you. I am secure in who I am. It tells the world that you do not need external validation to be confident in your identity and purpose. In difficult situations where tempers flare and accusations are thrown, the person who chooses silence shows that they are not controlled by the external noise. Instead of reacting impulsively and getting caught up in the chaos, they remain anchored in their wisdom, knowing that not every battle requires a fight. They understand that speaking out of anger often leads to regret, and that sometimes silence is the most powerful response because it forces others to confront their own noise. When we speak, we often aim to prove a point, defend ourselves, or justify our actions. But silence requires no justification. It is rooted in the knowledge that truth does not always need to be spoken. Sometimes the best way to communicate strength is to let your actions speak for you. Silence in its purest form is wisdom in action. It is the quiet understanding that not every challenge deserves a response, and not every accusation merits a defense. It is a demonstration of self-discipline, purpose, and unshakable confidence in what truly matters. Silence is not the absence of a voice, but the presence of understanding. It is a calculated decision to rise above the noise and choose the higher path. When you embrace silence, you embrace strength. The most powerful responses are often not verbal. Your actions and restraint communicate louder than your words ever could. In a world filled with constant chatter, where everyone is eager to give their opinion or react impulsively, the ability to stay quiet and composed sets you apart. It demonstrates that you understand the deeper dynamics at play, that words, no matter how forceful, often fade in comparison to the impact of consistent, purposeful action. We live in a society that rewards quick responses and immediate gratification. But consider this, what leaves a lasting impression. Is it the person who reacts hastily in a moment of frustration, or the one who remains calm even when under attack? It's the latter. Silence coupled with decisive action is often far more powerful than any argument or debate. When you choose to refrain from speaking, especially in situations where emotions run high, you gain control over the narrative. Instead of feeding into the tension, you create a space for reflection. Your silence can disarm others, causing them to reflect on their own words and actions. They are forced to face their own noise because you refuse to meet them on that level. In this way, silence is not an evasion, it's a form of influence that shifts the focus and invites deeper thought. Moreover, silence gives room for your actions to speak on your behalf. People may not always listen to what you say, but they will certainly notice what you do. Your actions, driven by consistency, purpose, and integrity, will always speak louder than any explanation or defense you might offer. Silence paired with meaningful action creates a powerful testimony that no amount of words could replace. It's not about proving yourself in the moment, but about demonstrating who you are over time. In choosing silence, you demonstrate that your energy is not wasted on trivial things. You show that you are focused on something bigger than the noise around you. Instead of being drawn into endless debates or pointless arguments, you stand firm in the knowledge that your actions will tell your story. And that, my friends, is the most powerful way to communicate. Silence amidst chaos is the mark of a composed and confident spirit. You don't need to react to everything. Sometimes the best response is no response at all. The world will often try to provoke you, to pull you into its drama, its noise, and its confusion. But the true test of strength is not in how well you argue or defend yourself, but in how well you can remain calm in the middle of the storm. When everything around you is falling apart and voices are clashing, the temptation to jump in, to correct, to fix, or to justify is strong. Yet, reacting in haste only adds fuel to the fire. In those moments, the greatest power you can exhibit is restraint. The person who can stand in silence, unmoved by the chaos swirling around them, displays an inner confidence that speaks volumes. That kind of silence is not ignorance or avoidance. It is the product of deep self-awareness and mastery over one's emotions. In a heated argument, the first person to raise their voice often loses control. Their words become weapons, and in the heat of emotion, they say things they may later regret. But the one who remains silent, the one who listens instead of reacting, keeps control. They do not let the situation dictate their behavior because they are driven by a deeper understanding of themselves and their purpose. Silence, in this sense, is not just a defense, it's a strategy. There's a reason why great leaders and thinkers throughout history have valued silence. It allows for reflection. It provides space for clarity. In silence, you can observe more, understand more, and respond with greater wisdom when the time is right. You are no longer caught in the noise, but are above it, able to see things from a higher perspective. In moments of chaos, your silence says, I am not shaken by this. It is a statement of confidence, a declaration that you are in control of your emotions and your destiny. Rather than reacting to the momentary storm, you rise above it. That is the kind of power that silence brings, a strength rooted in inner peace, unbothered by external turmoil. Silence protects your peace and mental clarity. It builds an internal fortress where you decide what deserves your attention and what doesn't. In a world that constantly bombards us with noise, opinions, and distractions, one of the greatest gifts you can give yourself is the ability to preserve your peace through silence. Not every issue, conflict, or criticism deserves your response, and recognizing that is a powerful form of self-mastery. When you engage with every criticism, every argument, or every challenge thrown your way, you drain your energy. You become entangled in other people's chaos, losing sight of your own focus and peace. Silence allows you to rise above the fray. It gives you the space to assess what is truly important and what is merely a distraction. In moments of tension, when everyone else is losing their composure, your silence becomes a shield, a barrier that protects your mental well-being from unnecessary stress. Choosing silence doesn't mean you are avoiding problems or ignoring reality. On the contrary, it is a deliberate decision to preserve your mental clarity so that you can approach challenges from a place of calm and control. By not reacting immediately, you give yourself time to think, to process, and to decide the best course of action. In this way, silence gives you power over the situation rather than letting the situation have power over you. Silence is also an opportunity to reflect. In those quiet moments, you can tune out the external noise and listen to your inner voice. It is in silence that you often find the answers you are searching for, the clarity you need to move forward. In the stillness, you connect with your deeper purpose and direction. When your mind is cluttered with too many voices and distractions, it's difficult to see the path clearly. Silence clears the fog, allowing you to see things as they truly are. Moreover, silence sends a message to the world you are in control of your own narrative. You decide when to speak and when to remain quiet. You are not swayed by every external force. In protecting your peace, you create space for growth, for creativity, and for a deeper connection with yourself. Silence then becomes not just a tool for survival, but a practice for thriving. Sometimes growth means you no longer need to explain yourself to those who misunderstand or doubt you. Silence becomes your shield as you evolve. As you continue on your journey of self-development, not everyone will understand your path, and that's okay. The need to constantly explain or justify yourself to others is often a sign of insecurity or the desire for approval. But when you reach a point of true growth, you realize that your progress and purpose don't require validation from everyone. There will always be people who question your decisions, doubt your intentions, or misunderstand your actions. They may criticize you, expect explanations, or demand that you fit within the confines of their understanding. But silence is your way of stepping out of that dynamic. It signals that you are no longer concerned with the opinions of those who are not on the same journey. Silence, in this sense, is an acknowledgement of your own maturity. You are no longer reacting to every word spoken against you because you know that your worth and direction are not determined by others. This kind of silence is a reflection of your internal confidence. You no longer need to justify your actions to those who don't see your vision because you've outgrown the need for constant approval. Growth brings a sense of peace that allows you to be silent in the face of misunderstanding, knowing that time will reveal your intentions more clearly than words ever could. Moreover, when you stop explaining yourself to those who doubt you, you reclaim your energy. Every time you try to convince someone of your path, you expend mental and emotional resources. But silence saves that energy, allowing you to invest it into the very goals and growth that are leading you forward. You shift from a mindset of needing to be understood to focusing on what truly matters, your own progress. In this way, silence is a sign of liberation. You are free from the weight of needing others to agree with or comprehend your choices. Silence allows you to move forward without being weighed down by the judgments or opinions of others. It empowers you to stay focused on your evolution, knowing that the people who are meant to understand will, and those who don't were never part of the journey in the first place. Silence allows you to tap into your inner voice to hear wisdom when the world is shouting distractions. In our fast-paced, noisy world, it's easy to lose touch with our own thoughts, instincts, and intuition. We are constantly surrounded by voices, social media, news, people around us, each competing for our attention, telling us how to think, act, and feel. In the midst of all this noise, the quiet inner voice that guides us is often drowned out. But when you choose silence, you create the space to listen to that voice, to connect with the wisdom within you. In silence, you are able to filter out the distractions and focus on what truly matters. This is where true clarity comes from, not from the opinions of others, but from your own deep personal understanding. When you take time to be silent, to step away from the constant flow of information and input, you give yourself the gift of introspection. You allow your mind to settle, to process, and to make sense of the world in a way that aligns with your unique perspective and purpose. Silence is where creativity and insight are born. It's no coincidence that some of the world's greatest thinkers, artists, and leaders have sought solitude and silence as a means of finding inspiration. It is in those quiet moments that new ideas form, that problems are solved, and that vision becomes clear. When you give yourself the opportunity to embrace silence, you invite wisdom to emerge. You stop reacting to the external chaos and start responding to the inner truths that guide you forward. Furthermore, silence allows you to hear not just your own voice, but the voice of wisdom that speaks through intuition. We all have an inner compass, a sense of what is right for us, but too often we ignore it because we are too busy listening to the noise around us. In silence, that compass becomes clearer. You start to trust your instincts more, to follow your gut, and to make decisions based on what feels right for you, not what the world expects of you. In a world filled with distractions, silence becomes a tool for connection, not just with yourself, but with the deeper wisdom that flows through life. When you take time to be silent, you reconnect with your purpose, your values, and the path that is uniquely yours. In those quiet moments, you find the answers that no amount of external advice could ever provide. Those who speak out of anger or frustration are slaves to their emotions. Silence shows that you are the master of yours. In moments of tension, when emotions are running high, it's easy to let words fly in the heat of the moment. But when you react impulsively, you surrender control to your emotions, letting them dictate your actions. Anger, frustration, and hurt can cloud your judgment, leading you to say things you might later regret. It's in those moments that silence becomes not only a shield, but a sign of true emotional mastery. Choosing silence in the face of emotional provocation is a powerful declaration that you are not controlled by fleeting emotions. It shows that you have developed the ability to pause, reflect, and make thoughtful decisions rather than being driven by the intensity of the moment. When others expect you to react, especially with anger, and you choose silence instead, you demonstrate a level of discipline and self-awareness that is rare. Emotions are powerful forces, but they are not meant to lead us. They are signals that guide us to deeper understanding. Anger can point to injustice, frustration can signal a need for change, but acting out of these emotions without reflection only leads to conflict and regret. Silence, on the other hand, allows you to process these emotions without becoming their victim. It gives you time to step back, understand the root of your feelings, and choose a response that is aligned with your values and your long-term goals rather than a knee-jerk reaction. When you remain silent in emotionally charged situations, you show that you are in control of yourself. You are not easily swayed by external forces, and you do not allow others to dictate your behavior. This is especially important in a world that often rewards dramatic reactions and emotional outbursts. Silence is a sign that you are not playing that game. You are operating on a higher level where self-control and wisdom guide your actions. In mastering your emotions, you gain the ability to influence situations with a calm presence. People respect those who don't lose their cool under pressure, who can handle tough situations with grace. Silence in these moments speaks of your strength, your patience, and your ability to rise above the turmoil. It becomes a powerful statement: I am in control, not my emotions. This kind of mastery not only protects your peace, but also earns you the respect and trust of those around you. There is a profound eloquence in silence. What you choose not to say often has a deeper impact than what you could say. In a world where words are cheap and easily thrown around, silence holds a unique power. It is often the absence of words that speaks louder and resonates longer than any argument or explanation. By choosing silence, you allow others to feel the weight of what has not been said, and in that space there is room for reflection, understanding, and often transformation. Sometimes the most effective communication happens when you deliberately choose not to engage. When faced with criticism, accusations, or challenges, silence can disarm your opposition. People expect a reaction, they thrive on it. They expect you to defend yourself, to argue back, to justify your position. But when you remain silent, you strip them of the fuel that keeps their fire burning. Your silence forces them to confront their own words, often causing them to reflect more deeply on what they've said. In this way, silence becomes not just a lack of response, but a powerful tool of communication. Silence can also evoke curiosity. When you don't respond immediately, others are left wondering about your thoughts and intentions. Your silence creates a space of mystery, allowing you to maintain control over the conversation without uttering a single word. It shifts the dynamics of the interaction, placing you in a position of power. Silence allows you to observe more, to gather your thoughts, and to respond if and when you choose from a place of calm deliberation. Furthermore, silence can speak to your inner confidence. You don't always need to voice your opinions or defend your decisions. When you know your worth and are grounded in your truth, silence becomes a reflection of that certainty. You don't need to prove yourself or convince others because you are secure in who you are and what you stand for. Silence, in this sense, is a quiet assertion of self-assurance, a declaration that you are not swayed by the opinions or judgments of others. In a world full of noise, choosing silence can be a radical act. It conveys strength, maturity, and wisdom in ways that words often cannot. Your silence, when wielded intentionally, can create space for reflection, elevate your presence, and leave a lasting impact that echoes far beyond the moment. In a world where noise often drowns out wisdom, the power of silence stands as a timeless force. Silence is not weakness, but a profound expression of strength, confidence, and self-mastery. It shields your peace, commands respect, and allows your actions to speak louder than words ever could. By mastering the art of silence, you rise above the chaos, showing that true power doesn't come from reacting, but from choosing when, how, and if to respond. In moments of tension, conflict, or misunderstanding, let your silence be a reflection of your wisdom, letting your presence and purpose speak for themselves.
Today we gather to explore one of the most profound questions we can ask ourselves: what is the purpose of life? Understanding our divine assignment is not merely an academic exercise, it is a journey that each of us is called to embark upon. First, let us define purpose. Purpose is a profound concept that transcends mere goals and ambitions. It is the very core of our existence, a guiding force that shapes our lives and gives them meaning. When we talk about purpose, we often find ourselves trapped in the confines of societal definitions, career aspirations, financial success, or personal achievements. While these elements are undoubtedly important, they represent only a fragment of what purpose truly encompasses. Purpose is not an endpoint, it is the journey itself, an inner compass that directs us toward our true calling. At its essence, purpose is the reason we wake up each morning. It is the fuel that ignites our passion and drives us forward, even in the face of adversity. When we possess a clear sense of purpose, our lives become infused with a sense of direction and focus. We are no longer just drifting through life, responding to circumstances. Instead, we become active participants in our own narrative, shaping our destinies in alignment with our core beliefs and values. This active engagement allows us to experience life more fully, enabling us to find joy in the little moments and fulfillment in our daily actions. Furthermore, understanding our purpose encourages us to tap into our unique gifts and talents. Each of us is endowed with a distinct set of abilities that can be harnessed to contribute positively to the world around us. These talents are not random, they are intricately tied to our purpose, serving as clues that point us toward our true path. When we engage with these gifts, we not only enrich our own lives, but also have the potential to uplift others. Sharing our unique contributions can create ripple effects, inspiring those around us to discover and embrace their own purposes. In this quest for understanding, we must also acknowledge the role of self-reflection. The journey to uncovering one's purpose requires introspection and an honest assessment of our values, passions, and beliefs. It involves asking ourselves deep questions: what makes us feel alive? What issues ignite our passion? What legacy do we wish to leave behind? These inquiries force us to confront our innermost desires and motivations, guiding us toward a more authentic existence. In this way, purpose becomes a mirror reflecting our true selves, allowing us to shed societal expectations and pursue a path that resonates deeply with who we are. Yet the search for purpose is not always linear. It can be fraught with challenges, doubts, and moments of confusion. Life often throws us curveballs, leading us to question our direction and even our worth. During these times, it is vital to remember that adversity is not an obstacle but a stepping stone. Challenges can serve as invaluable teachers, helping us refine our understanding of what truly matters to us. In navigating hardship, we often discover strengths we never knew we possessed, revealing facets of our purpose that may have remained hidden in easier times. Moreover, purpose is inherently connected to our relationships with others. We are social beings, and our lives are enriched by the connections we forge with family, friends, and our communities. These relationships often serve as mirrors, reflecting our values and encouraging us to grow. As we understand our purpose more deeply, we are also empowered to engage with others in meaningful ways. We learn to cultivate empathy, support, and love, enhancing not only our lives, but also the lives of those around us. Our shared journeys can create communities that thrive on collective purpose, fostering a sense of belonging and mutual support. Importantly, purpose is not static. It evolves as we grow and change. What might have felt meaningful in one phase of life can shift as we encounter new experiences and insights. Embracing this fluidity allows us to remain open to growth and transformation, adapting our purpose as necessary to align with our current realities. This adaptability is a strength, not a weakness. It signifies that we are engaged in a dynamic process of self-discovery, continually refining our understanding of who we are and what we are meant to do. Purpose is the lifeblood of a fulfilling existence. It is a compass that guides our actions, a lens through which we view the world, and a force that connects us to something greater than ourselves. By understanding purpose as more than just a destination, but rather as the essence of our being, we can embark on a transformative journey toward a life of meaning and impact. Next, how do we identify our unique assignments? Identifying your unique assignment, discovering your unique divine assignment, is a transformative journey that requires introspection and an openness to explore the depths of your own potential. Each individual is equipped with distinct gifts, talents, and passions that serve as the foundation of their purpose. These elements are not accidental. They are intricately woven into the fabric of who we are, and understanding them is essential to uncovering our divine assignment. To begin this journey, it is crucial to engage in self-reflection. Take the time to ask yourself what activities make you feel truly alive. What brings you joy and fulfillment? These questions can help illuminate your natural inclinations and interests. Your passions are often indicators of where your purpose lies. For instance, if you find immense joy in helping others, perhaps your divine assignment involves service or leadership. Alternatively, if creativity fuels your spirit, it may guide you toward artistic expression or innovation. These passions are the markers of your unique contribution to the world. In addition to self-reflection, it is vital to recognize the talents and skills that you possess. Everyone has innate abilities, whether they are analytical, creative, interpersonal, or technical. These skills can be harnessed to fulfill your divine assignment. Acknowledging your strengths allows you to understand how you can make a difference. It is often helpful to seek feedback from others, as they may see qualities in you that you might overlook. Engaging with trusted friends or mentors can provide valuable insights and perspectives that aid in your discovery. Another significant aspect of identifying your unique assignment involves embracing your life experiences, both the joyful moments and the challenges. Each experience shapes who you are and informs your understanding of purpose. The lessons learned through adversity can often point you toward your divine assignment. For example, someone who has faced personal struggles with mental health might find purpose in helping others navigate similar challenges, using their experience to foster compassion and understanding. This connection between personal history and purpose is powerful. It allows us to transform pain into purpose. Additionally, pay attention to what stirs your heart and mind. What issues do you feel compelled to advocate for? Whether it's environmental sustainability, social justice, education, or mental health, your interests often indicate areas where you can contribute meaningfully. When you align your passions with your commitment to these causes, you can find clarity in your unique assignment. This alignment creates a sense of urgency and motivation, compelling you to act and engage deeply with the world. As you explore your unique assignment, it's essential to remain patient and open-minded. This journey is not a race, it is a process of discovery that can take time. Embrace the uncertainties and the twists and turns along the way. Sometimes the pursuit of purpose requires stepping outside of your comfort zone, trying new things, and being willing to fail. Each experience, whether successful or not, contributes to your understanding of your divine assignment. It's also important to recognize that your unique assignment may evolve over time. As you grow, learn, and change, so too may your understanding of your purpose. What felt right at one stage in life may shift as new opportunities and challenges arise. This fluidity is not a sign of inconsistency, but rather a testament to your growth. Embrace the idea that your divine assignment can expand and transform, allowing you to adapt to the needs of the world around you. In seeking your unique assignment, consider how your gifts can serve others. True fulfillment often lies in the act of service, where our talents and passions intersect with the needs of the world. Ask yourself how you can use your unique abilities to make a positive impact. When you align your gifts with service, you not only fulfill your own purpose, but also contribute to the greater good, creating a ripple effect that extends far beyond yourself. The journey to identify your unique divine assignment is deeply personal and sacred. It requires courage, honesty, and a willingness to explore the depths of your being. As you embark on this quest, remember that you are not alone. Countless others are on similar paths, each seeking their own understanding of purpose. By embracing your unique assignment, you take a significant step toward living a life filled with meaning, passion, and fulfillment. Now, let's talk about adversity. The role of adversity is an inevitable part of life, and while it often feels daunting, it can also serve as a profound teacher in our quest to understand our divine assignment. Challenges and hardships are not just obstacles to be overcome, they are opportunities for growth, reflection, and deeper insight into our true purpose. Embracing adversity can ultimately lead us closer to our unique paths. When we face difficulties, we are often pushed out of our comfort zones, prompting us to reevaluate our values, priorities, and aspirations. In these moments of struggle, we may discover strengths we never knew we possessed. For instance, someone who experiences a significant setback may find resilience they didn't realize was within them. This newfound strength can illuminate aspects of their purpose that were previously obscured. Adversity forces us to confront our limitations, but it also reveals our capacity for growth and adaptation. Moreover, overcoming challenges often brings clarity. In times of hardship, we are stripped of distractions, leading us to focus on what truly matters. When life throws us into chaos, we are compelled to seek out our core beliefs and desires. This process of introspection can lead to transformative realizations about our purpose. For example, someone who has faced health issues may find that their experience fuels a passion for advocacy in healthcare, leading them to dedicate their life to improving the well-being of others. Adversity also fosters empathy, which is essential for understanding our divine assignment. Experiencing pain and struggle can deepen our compassion for others who are facing similar challenges. When we learn to navigate our own difficulties, we become more attuned to the struggles of those around us. This heightened awareness can guide us toward paths of service and advocacy, allowing us to channel our experiences into meaningful action. By understanding the struggles of others, we can find purpose in supporting and uplifting them. Furthermore, adversity can spark a sense of urgency in pursuing our purpose. When faced with challenges, we may realize the fleeting nature of life, prompting us to reevaluate how we spend our time and energy. This urgency can catalyze us to take bold steps toward our aspirations, igniting a desire to live authentically and fully. The awareness that life is not guaranteed encourages us to seize opportunities and make choices that align with our true purpose. Additionally, it's important to recognize that not all adversity is the same. Some challenges are profound and life-altering, while others may be more subtle yet equally significant. Both types have their place in shaping our understanding of purpose. Small setbacks such as job rejections or personal disappointments can serve as valuable lessons that redirect us toward paths we might not have otherwise considered. Each experience, no matter how minor it may seem, contributes to our overall growth and self-discovery. Resilience plays a critical role in how we navigate adversity. Cultivating resilience allows us to bounce back from challenges, learning from them instead of becoming defeated. This resilience is often built over time, strengthened through each encounter with hardship. As we learn to face difficulties with courage and determination, we develop a mindset that views challenges as integral to our journey rather than insurmountable barriers. In addition, adversity can instill a sense of community and connection. When we experience struggles, we often seek support from others who can relate to our circumstances. Sharing our experiences fosters bonds and creates a sense of solidarity among those facing similar trials. This community can provide not only comfort but also encouragement, reminding us that we are not alone in our journeys. Through these connections, we can draw inspiration from one another, further illuminating our paths to purpose. Adversity teaches us valuable lessons that are instrumental in the pursuit of our divine assignment. It encourages us to dig deeper, reflect more profoundly, and engage with life more fully. By embracing adversity as a necessary part of our journey, we open ourselves to the potential for growth and transformation. Through this lens, challenges become not just obstacles but essential components of our purpose, shaping us into who we are meant to be and guiding us toward a life of meaning and impact. Living with intention to live with intention is to engage with life purposefully, aligning our actions with our core values and beliefs. This intentionality transforms the mundane into the extraordinary and allows us to navigate our paths with clarity and conviction. When we approach life with a sense of purpose, we become active participants rather than passive observers, making choices that reflect our unique divine assignments. At the heart of intentional living is self-awareness. Understanding who we are and what we stand for is crucial in making decisions that resonate with our purpose. This self-awareness involves not only recognizing our strengths and weaknesses, but also being attuned to our passions and values. By cultivating this awareness, we can discern which opportunities align with our divine assignment and which do not. It empowers us to say yes to experiences that enrich our lives and no to those that detract from our journey. Intentional living also requires setting clear goals that are in harmony with our purpose. These goals serve as signposts, guiding us along our journey and helping us measure our progress. However, it's important to differentiate between external goals, which may be influenced by societal expectations, and intrinsic goals that stem from our authentic desires. When we set goals rooted in our values and passions, we create a roadmap that leads us closer to fulfilling our divine assignment. Another key aspect of living with intention is prioritization. In a world filled with distractions, it's easy to become overwhelmed by the demands of daily life. Intentional living requires us to evaluate how we spend our time and energy. By prioritizing activities that align with our purpose, we can channel our resources toward what truly matters. This might mean dedicating time to pursue a passion project, engage in meaningful relationships, or contribute to community service. Each choice we make should reflect our commitment to living authentically and purposefully. Moreover, embracing mindfulness plays a significant role in intentional living. Mindfulness encourages us to be present in each moment, fostering a deeper connection to our experiences. When we practice mindfulness, we cultivate an awareness of our thoughts, feelings, and surroundings, allowing us to make conscious choices rather than react out of habit or impulse. This presence enhances our ability to align our actions with our purpose, creating a more fulfilling and meaningful life. Living with intention also involves cultivating a sense of gratitude. Acknowledging and appreciating the positive aspects of our lives can significantly influence our mindset and motivation. When we focus on what we have rather than what we lack, we shift our perspective toward abundance and possibility. This gratitude reinforces our commitment to our purpose, reminding us of the impact we can have and the opportunities available to us. In addition, surrounding ourselves with supportive individuals is crucial to living intentionally. The people we choose to engage with can either uplift us or drain our energy. By nurturing relationships with those who inspire and encourage us, we create an environment conducive to pursuing our divine assignment. These connections can provide motivation, accountability, and fresh perspectives, all of which are invaluable on our journey. Intentional living also invites us to embrace authenticity. Being true to ourselves means recognizing our unique paths and being unapologetic about our choices. Authenticity fosters confidence, allowing us to pursue our purpose with conviction. When we live authentically, we inspire others to do the same, creating a ripple effect of intentional living that strengthens our communities. Finally, it's important to acknowledge that living with intention does not mean being perfect or having everything figured out. Life is a continuous journey of growth, and we will inevitably encounter setbacks and uncertainties. However, by committing to live intentionally, we can approach these challenges with a mindset geared toward learning and adaptation. Each experience, whether positive or negative, contributes to our understanding of purpose and helps us refine our paths. In essence, living with intention is about taking ownership of our lives and making choices that align with our divine assignment. It empowers us to create meaningful experiences, deepen our connections, and contribute positively to the world around us. By engaging with life purposefully, we can navigate our journeys with clarity, confidence, and a profound sense of fulfillment. Furthermore, our individual purposes are interconnected. The impact of purpose on community understanding and living out our purpose does not only benefit ourselves, it creates a ripple effect that profoundly impacts our communities and the world at large. When individuals embrace their divine assignments, They contribute to a collective purpose that strengthens social bonds, fosters collaboration, and cultivates a spirit of service. First and foremost, when we actively pursue our purpose, we naturally inspire those around us. Passion is contagious, and witnessing someone fully engaged in their calling can motivate others to reflect on their own lives and aspirations. This inspiration often leads to a culture of encouragement and empowerment within communities. As individuals pursue their unique assignments, they foster an environment where others feel supported in their own quest for purpose. This sense of shared motivation creates a powerful dynamic that elevates the entire community. Moreover, understanding our purpose can enhance our sense of belonging. When individuals contribute their unique gifts and talents, they forge connections that deepen relationships within the community. Whether through volunteer work, mentorship, or simply sharing knowledge and skills, purposeful engagement helps build networks of support. This interconnectedness fosters a sense of unity, reminding us that we are all part of something greater than ourselves. As we contribute to our communities, we cultivate relationships that enrich our lives and the lives of those around us. Additionally, purpose-driven individuals are more likely to engage in service and advocacy. When we recognize the gifts we have been given, we often feel a compelling responsibility to share those gifts with others. This sense of duty can lead to meaningful community initiatives that address pressing social issues. Whether it's organizing a local cleanup, starting a mentoring program, or advocating for social justice, individuals who live out their purpose are often at the forefront of positive change. Their actions can inspire others to join in, creating a collective effort toward improving the community. Furthermore, the impact of purpose on community extends to the creation of diverse and inclusive spaces. When individuals from various backgrounds and experiences come together to share their gifts, they bring different perspectives that enrich the community. This diversity fosters creativity and innovation, leading to solutions that might not have emerged in a more homogeneous setting. Embracing the unique contributions of each person allows communities to thrive and adapt to challenges more effectively. Living out our purpose also enhances our resilience as a community. In times of crisis, individuals driven by their divine assignments are often the first to step up, providing support and resources to those in need. Their commitment to service can be a beacon of hope, inspiring others to come together in times of difficulty. When individuals act with intention and purpose, they cultivate a culture of mutual aid and solidarity, reinforcing the idea that we are stronger together. Moreover, purpose-driven individuals tend to create lasting legacies that shape their communities for generations. When we engage with our purpose, we plant seeds of change that can flourish long after we are gone. This legacy is often reflected in the lives we touch, the initiatives we inspire, and the values we instill in others. By fostering the culture of purpose, we pave the way for future generations to continue the work, ensuring that our communities remain vibrant and resilient. It's also essential to recognize that the impact of purpose on community is reciprocal. Just as individuals benefit from engaging with their purpose, communities also play a crucial role in shaping that purpose. A supportive community can help individuals discover their strengths, encouraging them to explore their divine assignments. Access to resources, mentorship, and collaboration can significantly influence one's journey. When communities actively nurture and uplift their members, they create an environment where purpose can thrive. Ultimately, the interplay between individual purpose and community is profound. When people understand and embrace their divine assignments, they contribute to a collective purpose that enriches the fabric of society. This dynamic fosters inspiration, connection, service, and resilience, creating communities that are not only stronger, but also more compassionate and engaged. By recognizing the power of purpose within ourselves and in those around us, we can work together to build a world that reflects our shared values and aspirations. Lastly, consider the legacy you wish to leave. As we journey through life, understanding and living out our purpose culminates in the creation of a legacy that extends far beyond our individual existence. Our legacy is the imprint we leave on the world and the lives we touch. It reflects the values we uphold, the contributions we make, and the relationships we foster. A life lived in alignment with our divine assignment is inherently fulfilling, allowing us to experience a deep sense of satisfaction that resonates throughout our lives. To begin with, legacy is shaped by our daily choices and actions. Every decision we make, no matter how small, contributes to the narrative of our lives. When we align these choices with our purpose, we create a meaningful story that reflects our values and aspirations. This alignment enables us to live authentically, ensuring that our actions are consistent with our beliefs. Over time, this consistency builds a foundation for a legacy that others can admire and emulate. Moreover, fulfillment arises from the knowledge that we are making a positive impact in the lives of others. When we engage in work that resonates with our purpose, we experience a profound sense of satisfaction that comes from serving something greater than ourselves. This fulfillment fuels our passion, motivating us to continue our pursuits even in the face of challenges. It reminds us that our efforts are not in vain, as they contribute to a larger tapestry of humanity. When we see the fruits of our labor reflected in the lives of others, we find a deeper connection to our purpose. A strong legacy also encourages us to reflect on the values we wish to pass on to future generations. The lessons we learn and the principles we embody become guiding lights for those who come after us. By living intentionally and purposefully, we model behaviors and attitudes that can inspire others to seek their own paths. This mentoring role is vital. It allows us to share wisdom and experiences that can shape the next generation's understanding of purpose and fulfillment. In addition, understanding our legacy invites us to engage in continuous self-improvement. The pursuit of purpose is an evolving journey, and as we grow, so too does our understanding of what we wish to leave behind. By committing to lifelong learning and personal development, we enhance our ability to make meaningful contributions. This growth not only enriches our lives, but also amplifies the impact we can have on our communities and the world. Furthermore, a focus on legacy fosters a sense of gratitude. Recognizing the blessings and opportunities we have been given allows us to appreciate the journey and the people who have influenced us along the way. This gratitude can motivate us to give back, reinforcing the idea that our legacy is not just about what we achieve individually, but also about how we uplift others. When we embrace a spirit of gratitude, we create a culture of generosity and service, further enriching the fabric of our communities. Ultimately, the pursuit of a meaningful legacy leads to a fulfilling life. When we align our actions with our purpose, we find joy in the journey and a sense of completion in our contributions. This fulfillment is not tied to external recognition or material success. Rather, it is rooted in the knowledge that we have lived authentically and made a difference. A life dedicated to purpose fosters a legacy that resonates long after we are gone, touching the hearts and minds of those who follow in our footsteps. In conclusion, understanding our divine assignment is a profound journey that shapes not only our lives, but also the world around us. By embracing our unique purposes, navigating adversity, living with intention, and recognizing the impact we have on our communities, we can create a legacy that embodies fulfillment and inspires others. Let us commit to this journey, knowing that in doing so, we not only discover our own purpose, but also contribute to a brighter, more connected future for all. Thank you.